Today we're looking at adding fractions with like units. When we see the word units, they're really talking about denominators. All my denominators are the same. So I know when I add fractions that have like units or equivalent or the same denominators, I just add across the top. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And then my denominator stays the same. So my answer is 7/8. That's the easy part. The hard part is showing it in a picture. So when I look at my answer, I see that my answer is less than 1 whole. So I know when I'm showing it on a number line, my number line will start at 0 and it will end at 1. So then I'm working with eighths. I know my denominator is 8, so I need to show eighths on a number line. So I know 0/8 is equivalent to 0, and I know when my numerator and denominator are the same, that's equivalent to 1. So my fraction for 1 whole would be 8/8. Then I have to fill in the rest, so I'm looking at filling in 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, all the way up to 8/8. An easy way to do this is to split it in half first, because I know that 4/8, 4 is half of 8, so I know 4/8 is the halfway mark, or it is equivalent to 1/2. Then I can split those halves in half again. And then that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm looking for eighths, so I know I can split those halves in half again to give me 8 markers. So I'm starting at 0/8. I have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8 is already done, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. Now I need to show what I did up here on my number line here. So when I do that, I look at, okay, what is my first number? I have 3/8, so I have to get to 3/8 first. So I'll show that by jumping and landing on 3/8. That's what I'm starting with. Now I'm adding another 3/8. So I have to count 1, 2, 3 more eighths. So then I start where I left off at 3/8. There's 1/8, 2/8. That's 3 more eighths. That brings me to 6/8. Now I look at what I'm adding last. 1 more eighth. So I'm going from 6/8, 1 more eighth. That would bring me to 7/8. So 3/8 plus another 3/8 plus 1/8 gives me 7/8. To show that as a multiplication,
students that are going to BAE can now line up quietly outside of the 3-5 office. Thank you.
To show that as multiplication, how many 3/8 did I add together? That was 2. So I could say 2 times 3/8, and then I added another eighth. So if I'm going to multiply 2 times 3/8, it looks like this. 2 times 3 is 6. My denominator stays the same. Then I add my last eighth, which gives me 6 plus 1 is 7. Denominator stays the same, 7/8.